5-MeO-DMT, toad venom. Better known as toad venom, 5-MeO-DMT is one of the most powerful psychedelics known, extracted from the venom of the Sonoran desert toad or synthesized in labs. It's vaporized and inhaled, and the experience lasts only 10 to 20 minutes. But those minutes erase your sense of self completely. People describe it as ego death, the total dissolution of identity, memory, and awareness. Once inhaled, 5-MeO-DMT floods serotonin receptors with overwhelming intensity. The onset is instantaneous. Within seconds, reality vanishes. You don't see visuals or hallucinations because there's no you left to see anything. Your sense of being a person disappears entirely. At the peak, there's no time, no body, no thoughts. Some report merging with the universe, experiencing infinite white light, or feeling an overwhelming presence of pure existence. Others describe it as terrifying, like being erased from reality while still somehow conscious. There's no narrative, no storyline, just raw, formless experience beyond language. Then, just as suddenly, the come-down begins. Your sense of self rebuilds piece by piece. You remember your name, your body, the room you're in. Most people are left shaken, speechless, struggling to process what just happened. Some feel profound peace or spiritual awakening. Others feel traumatized. 5-MeO-DMT is not physically dangerous, but psychologically it's among the most intense substances that exist. There's no easing into it, no controlling the experience. Mephedrone, meow meow. Mephedrone, or meow meow, is a synthetic stimulant that exploded in popularity during the late 2000s as a legal alternative to MDMA and cocaine. Nicknamed meow meow or MCAT, it's snorted as powder, swallowed in capsules, or occasionally injected. For a brief window, it was legal and sold openly online before governments caught up and banned it. Once consumed, mephedrone floods your brain with serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine all at once. The rush is faster than MDMA, but shorter than cocaine. The onset hits within minutes if snorted. Euphoria surges through you. Energy spikes, and everything feels electric and perfect. Your heart races, pupils dilate, and conversation flows endlessly. You feel invincible, social, and deeply connected to everyone around you. At the peak, the high is intense but fleeting. Music sounds incredible. Touch feels amazing. And every moment pulses with possibility. But within 30 to 60 minutes, it starts fading. That's when the trap closes. The come-down arrives fast and harsh. The euphoria vanishes, replaced by anxiety, restlessness, and an overwhelming urge to redose immediately. So you do, then again, then again. The compulsion to keep using is stronger than almost any other drug. Users binge for hours or days, chasing a high that gets weaker with each line. When the supply finally runs out, the crash is brutal. Depression, paranoia, insomnia, and complete emotional exhaustion. Your brain's serotonin reserves are depleted, leaving you hollow for days. Ibogaine. Ibogaine is a psychedelic compound extracted from the root bark of the iboga plant, native to Central Africa. For decades, it's been used in underground clinics to treat opioid addiction because it reportedly resets the brain's dependency pathways. The experience lasts 24 to 36 hours and feels nothing like a recreational trip. Once swallowed as a capsule or powder, ibogaine floods your system and interacts with multiple neurotransmitter systems at once, including serotonin, dopamine, and opioid receptors. The onset begins within 1 to 3 hours. Nausea hits first, often violently. Your body feels heavy, immobilized, pinned to the bed. Then the visions start. At the peak, you're locked inside your mind for hours. Eyes closed, you watch your life replay in vivid detail. Memories you forgot, trauma you buried, choices you regret. Some describe it as confronting your entire existence at once. There's no euphoria, no escape, just raw psychological exposure. Users report understanding their addiction from the outside, seeing the patterns clearly for the first time. As the come-down slowly unfolds over the next day, physical withdrawal symptoms from opioids vanish almost entirely. Cravings reduce or disappear. The brain's reward system seems to reset. But ibogaine is cardiotoxic. It can cause irregular heartbeats, and deaths have occurred. particularly in people with pre-existing heart conditions or when used without medical supervision. The substance that promises to free you from addiction can stop your heart in the process. Salvia divinorum. Salvia is a psychoactive plant native to Mexico, legal in many places and sold in smoke shops. People smoke the dried leaves or concentrated extracts from a pipe or bong. The trip lasts only 5 to 10 minutes, but those minutes feel like lifetimes. Salvia doesn't resemble LSD, mushrooms, or any classic psychedelic. The experience is stranger and far less pleasant. Once inhaled, salvinorin A, the active compound, floods kappa opioid receptors in your brain. These receptors don't produce euphoria. They distort reality in ways that feel alien and uncomfortable. The onset is immediate and violent. Within seconds, you forget you took a drug. You forget you're a person. Reality doesn't just shift, it replaces itself completely. At the peak, users report becoming objects. You might believe you're a chair, a wall, a page in a book being flipped. Some feel like they're being pulled through dimensions, stretched across space, or living someone else's entire life from birth to death. Laughter is common, but purely mechanical. Your body reacting while your mind is gone. There's no euphoria, no insight, just confusion and the overwhelming sensation that this will never end. Then, as abruptly as it started, the come-down begins. Reality rebuilds itself piece by piece. You remember language, your body, your name. Most people are left disoriented, disturbed, and with zero desire to try it again. Salvia offers no wisdom, no fun, no connection. Phenibut. Phenibut is a Russian anti-anxiety drug developed in the 1960s for Soviet cosmonauts to stay calm in space without losing focus. In Russia, it requires a prescription. In the United States, it's sold legally as a dietary supplement online. People take it for social anxiety, stress relief, and sleep. The pills are swallowed, and the effects take 2 to 4 hours to arrive. Once absorbed, Phenibut crosses the blood-brain barrier and enhances GABA, the neurotransmitter that calms neural activity. It also mildly affects dopamine receptors, adding a subtle mood lift. The onset is gradual and gentle. Social anxiety fades, conversations flow naturally, and stress dissolves without sedation. You feel like a better version of yourself, confident but clear-headed. At the peak, which can last 6 to 8 hours, everything feels manageable. Music sounds richer, sleep comes easily, and worry simply stops occupying mental space. There's no euphoria, just a smooth, functional calm that feels almost too good to be real. Then, the tolerance builds. Within days of regular use, the same dose stops working. Users increase the amount, chasing that initial relief. When you try to stop, withdrawal hits harder than almost any other legal substance. Severe rebound anxiety, insomnia, tremors, rapid heartbeat, and, in extreme cases, hallucinations and seizures. The withdrawal can last weeks and requires medical supervision to taper safely. PCP. PCP is phencyclidine, a dissociative anesthetic developed in the 1950s for surgery, but abandoned because patients woke up agitated and psychotic. Now it exists as a street drug, smoked on cigarettes or joints, snorted as powder, or injected. The urban legends about superhuman strength and violent outbursts have roots in reality. Once it enters your system, PCP blocks NMDA receptors in your brain, severing the connection between sensory input and emotional response. The onset begins within minutes if smoked, longer if swallowed. Your body feels numb and distant, like you're controlling it through a thick fog. Pain disappears completely. At low doses, the peak brings euphoria, distorted perception, and a floating sensation. But at higher doses, reality fractures. You lose the ability to distinguish between thoughts and actions, between yourself and your surroundings. Some users report feeling invincible, detached from consequences, or convinced they're in a different place entirely. Time collapses, speech becomes garbled, and coordination vanishes. The dissociation is so complete that physical harm doesn't register. That's where the stories come from. People on PCP don't feel injuries, fear, or exhaustion, so they keep moving long after their body should have stopped. As the come-down stretches over hours or even days, confusion, paranoia, and aggression can linger. Memory gaps are common. Some users experience flashbacks or persistent psychosis that lasts weeks. PCP is unpredictable and psychologically addictive. The drug that disconnects you from pain also disconnects you from reality, reason, and self-preservation.